Imagine waking up tomorrow and discovering that every flower on Earth had disappeared. No roses, no lilies, no orchids, no apples, no strawberries, no grass waving across fields, no bees disappearing into bright petals. The world would still be green, but it would be a much older kind of green. The forests would be dominated by ferns, conifers, cycads, and plants that reproduce without the flowers we now consider ordinary. The Earth would still be alive. It just would not look like our Earth. For hundreds of millions of years, plants lived and reproduced without flowers. They spread across shorelines, they formed forests, they fed insects and giant herbivores, they survived droughts, floods, volcanic eruptions, and mass extinctions. The world before flowers was not an unfinished version of the modern world. It was a complete ecosystem with its own rules. Ferns spread spores, conifers released pollen into the wind. Cycads grew slowly beneath ancient canopies. Seeds developed, but they were often exposed rather than enclosed inside fruits. The land was green, but the green was quieter. There were no colorful petals advertising nectar, no fruit hanging from branches, no meadows covered in flowers, no insect moving from one blossom to the next. Plants cannot walk toward one another. They cannot chase a mate. They cannot carry pollen in their hands. For many ancient plants, wind was the solution. A tree released enormous clouds of pollen and allowed the air to carry it. Some of that pollen eventually reached another plant of the same species. Most of it did not. Wind pollination works, but it is wasteful. It requires enormous quantities of pollen and depends on weather, timing, and chance. Then one branch of plant life began experimenting with a different arrangement. Instead of releasing pollen and hoping the wind carried it to the right destination, the plant could attract an animal. The animal could visit one plant, then another, and pollen could travel with it. We do not know exactly what the first flower looked like. The fossil record is incomplete. But we know that flowering plants, known as angiosperms, eventually developed a remarkable combination of traits. They enclosed their seeds. They surrounded their reproductive structures with specialized tissues. They produced structures that could attract animals. Color, scent, nectar, shape, timing. A flower was not simply a new kind of leaf. It was a new reproductive system. The plant was offering an exchange. The insect received food. The plant received transportation. Neither organism understood the arrangement. Neither intended to create an ecosystem. But natural selection favored the combinations that worked. Plants that attracted more effective pollinators reproduced more successfully. Animals that found reliable food sources survived more easily. Over millions of years, the relationship became more precise. Some flowers opened during the day. Others opened at night. Some became pale so they could be seen in moonlight. Others developed deep colors visible to particular insects. Some produced scents that traveled through the air. Others created shapes that guided an animal directly toward pollen. The flower became a message written in color, smell, structure, and timing. Insects became part of the plant's reproductive system. Bees developed bodies covered in hairs that could carry pollen. Butterflies evolved long mouthparts for reaching nectar. Moths followed scent trails through darkness. Birds and bats became pollinators in different parts of the world. The relationship was never peaceful in the simple sense. Flowers rewarded animals, but they also controlled access to their resources. Insects adapted to flowers. Flowers adapted to insects. Each side changed the other. As flowering plants diversified, they created new habitats and new food sources. Leaves became more abundant in some environments. Seeds became enclosed and easier to transport. Fruits allowed plants to recruit animals as seed carriers. An animal could eat a fruit in one place and deposit the seed somewhere else. The plant moved without moving. This changed forests. It changed herbivores. It changed insects. It changed birds and mammals. It created new opportunities for animals that could feed on flowers, leaves, nectar, pollen, and fruit. Flowering plants did not erase older plant groups. Ferns still survived. Conifers still spread. Cycads still grew. But the balance of the land changed. the ancient green world began acquiring new shapes, new colors, and new relationships. A flower can look delicate. It can last for only a few days. It can be crushed beneath a foot or carried away by wind. But the visible flower is only one moment in a much larger system. Inside it are millions of years of evolutionary history, a solution to the problem of reproduction, a partnership with insects, a method of moving seeds, a foundation for food webs. Flowers did not arrive to decorate the world. They changed the world until it became recognizable to us. So the next time you see a flower growing beside a road, it may seem ordinary. That flower is not ordinary. It is the visible result of an evolutionary experiment older than humanity. Its color is a signal. Its scent is a message. Its nectar is an exchange. Its fruit may be a vehicle for the next generation. The landscape outside your window is not the original Earth. It is the result of countless relationships that began when plants first learned to use animals as partners. Before flowers, the planet was already alive. After flowers, life became more interconnected. And the world we recognize, the world of orchards, meadows, grasslands, fruits, bees, and flowering forests, was finally possible. Not because flowers were beautiful, because they solved a problem. And once that solution spread across the planet, Earth became a different place.